Started. I'm also going to try and do this without the microphone because the only one we have, I'd be tied to the, well, I would end up tripping because it's like a leash, so I'm not going to do it. But did everybody get the handouts? You basically updated syllabus, a leadership quick guide, and Scantron. So that's really all we're passing out this semester. Everybody got that? Okay. So welcome back. It is so good to see all of you. This is a really exciting time in EPICS. I think as of a little earlier today, we had over 500 students registered, and we're expecting at least 40 more students to register for EPICS. So we have a couple of new teams. Partnering with some other organizations, IEEE Rocket Team is actually going to be collaborating with EPICS like we have done with Engineers Without Borders. We have three new teams that are doing, well, one team that has 3 projects focused on image processing, and also a new Hyperloop team as well. So a lot of exciting things happening in EPICS, and glad to see so many people here. Had a lot of great success recently. Also with the, at the end of last semester, we had the Torch team. Anybody from the Torch team here? Yay. Presented their kids' torch at the governor's. There was an unveiling of both the bicentennial torch. So if you're not aware, Indiana will be celebrating its bicentennial, so 200-year anniversary this fall. And Purdue has been partnering with the governor's office to be able to design a torch that can be carried all throughout Indiana. And then EPICS actually had they designed a torch that could be used, a kid-friendly torch that didn't have flames and fuel, that could be used in schools to celebrate as well. So in Indiana, in the 4th grade, that's when a lot of kids learn about Indiana history, so they've been working with 4th grade teachers to learn about that. And then we had a couple of students who were on the Glass Herd team, who were part of our partnership with entrepreneurship, that actually won the shirts competition, which was an innovation competition as part of the entrepreneurship efforts. And also, I don't know if you received the imprints, but you can actually see it online. They have a really neat article. So it's been, as I said, an exciting time. This is our 20th year. EPICS started in 1995 here at Purdue. Leah Jamison, our dean, was one of the co-founders. And it's actually, I know I might have mentioned this in the past for some of you who've been in EPICS for a while, but I know it's something that you're familiar with here at Purdue, but it's actually known nationally and internationally and has received the highest award you can win by the National Academy of Engineering, the Gordon Prize. So you really are something bigger than Purdue, and even that's actually been recognized internationally as kind of an excellent program. Related to that, so besides the Purdue classes, we have a university program where universities have taken our model and replicated it, and we also have K-12. So we have over 25 universities that have replicated the EPICS model, and over 100 high schools. So really continuing to make an impact kind of around the world. Professor Oakes and Maeve Drummond are over in India right now, working with faculty to actually bring EPICS to India. So do we have any award winners here that received a Corcoran or presentation or any of the awards? Please stand up if you won award last semester. Come on, there's a few of you, I know. Stand up, come on, don't be shy. Congratulations. Excellent. Thank you very much for your excellence in what you do in EPICS. So, all right. So just a couple of updates. Have not made a lot of changes, but just want to reiterate a few things, especially maybe if last semester was your first semester in EPICS. Some of it might have been a blur, but just to kind of communicate. So again, we're not going to have a separate course deliverables document. Those activities are already in my EPICS, so you can look to see what is due this semester. A couple of things you won't have to do. If you're a returning student and not going to the ethics lecture, you do not have to do the ethics, actually either of those ethics surveys. Students who are new and going to the ethics lecture will still have to do the ethics survey because we talk about it in the lecture. But there's not going to be a team climate survey or the ethics survey that you have to do this semester. But generally, all of those things are in my EPICS as far as the individual activities, things that are due, like the individual evaluation rubric, and then the project things that are due, like project documentation, design review, project evaluation, just of those few things, okay? So still in my EPICS. Lab safety and the model release forms, again, still in my EPICS. As a returning student, if you completed it in the fall, you do not need to complete that. However, please help your teammates find that and complete it, the ones that are new related to that. So again, trying to minimize the number of pieces of paper we have and the different things. OneNote notebooks, about half. How many people did OneNote notebooks last semester? Yeah, probably, okay, that's what we thought. We're going to continue to have those. There is one change that we made. So instead of having a week by week thing that you filled out, they're going to be organized by content. So all of your project goals, all your project work can be together. Part of this, there's a downside, sometimes to some of the organization, but the challenge when things are organized by weeks or semesters is trying to find the information you're looking for. Because you have to remember, what week did I do that in versus this is my project documentation that's relevant, okay? Or this is the individual contributions that I've made that are relevant. So the template is now organized by content areas and not by week. You should still date your activity throughout that, but then you can just add on, and then if you have work that you did the previous week, you can just scroll up and be able to see that if you're using the 1-1 notebooks. Andrew Pierce, our lab manager, he copied all of the design document notebooks to this semester. And he took all of the notebooks from last semester, for those of you who used it, and they're in a fall 2015 tab. And then there's a new clean template that can be replicated for each of the team members this semester. If your team wants to make changes to that, you can. There's prompts in there and things like that to assist with it. But it's your notebook. Work with your advisors and your TAs to figure out if there's something you want to change about it, okay? But that's what we have in place for you, and you can make adjustments to that as well. If you if you haven't used it in the past and your advisor is going to use it this semester. So one other change, we're not handing out notebooks in the other lecture right now. Those are going to be in the lab. So since about half the people are using the OneNote, we didn't want to hand out notebooks to everybody and not have everybody use them. So if your team is opting to use paper notebooks, you should hand those out in your labs with your teammates there. If you need help for getting set up, the instructions are at the very top of the notebook guidelines page. There's also a troubleshooting guide. Note that there are different Windows and Mac instructions, so make sure you're looking for the right instructions if you have trouble with that. I know now what everybody has to be on the Office 365, and that was a challenge. You had to, I don't know if a challenge, but that was an additional step last semester in getting that set up. So hopefully you'll be able, the transition will be a little easier. Any questions about notebooks? Related to that. Okay. All right. One other change we made was the reflection template. So instead of having some of the questions week by week, basically what I've seen is that you guys do a great job with the final reflection responding to these prompts. And so instead of maybe answering a miscellaneous question, if you just respond to this prompt every week in one of those different areas, either your personal, professional, kind of what is the societal impact that your project is having. And then if you do that every week, that becomes your basically your final reflection. You do not need to write a separate final reflection then if you just respond this way. Plus, I know that's still been a challenge for a lot of people of what does it mean, how can I reflect effectively if you get that feedback from your advisors or your TAs. So hopefully if you use, I have just seen that when you use these prompts and kind of answer these prompts in your reflection, you actually do a much better job and are closer to what we want. So reflections are not, what did I do this week? It's not a repeat of just what did I do. It really is about the learning that's going on. So if you're thinking about that, hopefully that will help you be more effective in doing any of the reflections, okay? Again, you can modify that if you want, but we feel like this will be a better prompt for you to be able to reflect effectively. Any questions about this? Okay. So SharePoint Organization. I don't know if you've had a chance to go back to your SharePoint and take a look, but there's, they can use a little bit of attention to try and get them organized a little bit. I would, design leads and project archivists, project managers, any of you guys with those roles, really take a lead in trying to get it organized. And if you do so early in the semester, you'll set up a situation. What I really recommend is that you don't organize you try to avoid as much as possible organizing your SharePoint by semesters or by time. Because again, the challenge is you have to remember what semester did we do the CAD model or did they do that CAD model, and you have to try and find it by semester versus organized about content related to the projects. So this basically is close to what's up there. The only change is that instead of semester documentation, you can think about it as either project document or project management issues related to that. So really encourage you to try and get it organized. How many are familiar with Explorer view of SharePoint? Okay. So if you use Internet Explorer, which I know is not everybody's favorite browser, but if you use IE, you can go in and click to Explorer view. Then it shows you basically, like if you're on a PC machine and you see the folder structure, it shows you the folder structure. So you can drag and drop things and copy in a lot easier. So what I recommend is that if you need to do a lot of organization on SharePoint, that you use Explorer view to be able to do that, okay? Have your TA show you if you have any questions on how to do that. Okay. All right. So skill sessions, we've basically, we know a lot of the skill sessions that are going to be needed. Those have actually already been planned in the different weeks. The first month or so of them will be posted by the end of this week so you can see when they are and be able to sign up with them. We actually have a plan for the whole semester, but one challenge when we put them all in last semester is that people who signed up for the skill sessions, like the last half of the semester, forgot they signed up, and we had like 50% no-show. So then there were people who wanted to get into skill sessions who couldn't get into skill sessions because the spots were taken. So we're going to put them in there, but we're going to put the limit initially at 0 with a date in which we're going to open them up. So this is a balance between being able to find out what skill sessions are available and planning without getting ourselves in that situation where we have a whole bunch of people signed up for skill sessions and not showing for them. And really the issue of no-shows is that it's taken a spot from somebody who really wanted that spot, okay? So not trying to be punitive about any of it, but really just trying to say, how can we best equip everybody with what they need for that? Again, the other thing is TAs are going to offer 3 skill sessions instead of 2. So we're expecting to offer an additional round, especially of the intro. Because I know there were probably 4 offerings of SolidWorks the last half of last semester, and all of them were full. So we want to really be able to offer what is needed. We're also going to ask mid-semester if you've identified any new skill sessions, and you're always should be working with your TAs to identify what skill sessions you need for your projects. So we have a pretty good sense, but we know things can change, and so if there's some things that you identify or you need an additional one, please let us know and we'll get them started. Finally, for many of you who've been here 5, 6, 7, 8 semesters and want to find another way to earn lecture credits, one of the things you can do is actually offer a skill session yourself. So you get credit for developing it, credit for giving it, and so if any of you are interested in that, just talk to your TAs, especially if you've identified a skill that's going to has a broader impact than just your team. The last thing we're doing to try and help is some of that introductory material related to the skill sessions, the TAs are going to record, and we're going to post it on YouTube. So maybe you just need to know a little bit about something. You can at least watch that material and decide what else you might need to do, like go to the skill session. The other thing is we're hoping that skill sessions, you spend less time of this just somebody talking at you, and you're actually working on something and interacting so that you can actually get feedback on applying that knowledge. So those are going to be developed in the next 2 weeks or so, and they'll be posted on that same YouTube channel that the lectures are. Okay? All right. Just a couple other things. Continue to have project info in my EPICS. We'll need the project info, so administrators have to add that to my EPICS. So if you don't already see that there, project managers, I believe, should also have the ability to update it. TAs definitely do, relating with that. We're collaborating with Entrepreneurship 390. Again, I think it substitutes for Entrepreneurship 310. So SVAT teams split into 2 teams, MOBI and AT, and then VOS and GLASS. So those 4 teams are going to be partnering with Entrepreneurship. We'll do the wallet exercise with new students in the new lecture, as we've done in the past. And again, the card access system has been programmed, but we don't know that last digit. So if you could just have everybody on your team go and swipe, even if it doesn't give you access immediately, it sends a message to Andrew and he can really quickly update your the card access system with your last digit with that, the issue number digit. Okay. One of the things we're going to add to the labs is we're going to be putting up some iPads that will be running an app that basically is a visual inventory of the things in the lab. So often we have lots of things. Sometimes we know we have it, but we don't know even where it is. So this is going to be something hopefully to help be able to find all of the things in the lab. Also, wanted to tell you about an opportunity if you wanted to get published. There's actual Journal of Service Learning that's being kind of run by Purdue. But if you want to talk about your service learning experience and get published in that, there's an opportunity to be able to do it. They accept submissions on a rolling basis. I believe you have to submit something by March, early March, to be able to be published in the fall edition of the journal. So anyway, wanting to add to your resume or your CV, feel free to do that. Budgeting and financial. So if you submitted a budget in the fall, it's an annual budget, so you do not need to submit a new one unless your budget situation has changed. So if you are adding projects and you need to expand that, feel free, you can go ahead and do that. Or if your team does not expect to spend $200 the whole year, you never have to turn in a budget for that. Provost grants. So highly encourage you to apply for those if your team is eligible. Last semester alone, we almost got $14,000 in provost grants. So that's more money we have to spend on other things and bigger things that we can do within EPICS because of that. So if your team partners with an external organization, you are eligible. If your team partners with like a Purdue organization like the Speech, Language, and Audiology Clinic, we're not eligible for that. But if we have projects that are external to Purdue, like Purdue Space Day, that doesn't count either. Okay, but if you have an external organization that you partner with, then your team could be eligible. Students, you have to initiate the grant. Cannot be initiated by, you have to submit it. But it's actually pretty easy. It's a couple pages. Who submitted one last time? Yeah, it's pretty easy to do that. Usually it needs to be spent within the semester. The deadline is February 1st this semester. So a little bit sooner, which is good, because we didn't find out till somewhat late in the semester for a lot of teams for that. Okay. Again, always take the opportunity to remind you about personal reimbursements. So we're pretty creative about being able to find out how to pay for things. Whoops, I kind of had that disorganized. So going back to skill sessions and lectures, I think it's really important that you guys can play a key role in helping, especially new members on your team, figure out which skill sessions they should be participating in. Okay? Because it is overwhelming. Think about when you first might have been in EPICS and there's these skill sessions and these lectures and I don't know what I need. Help your team be able to identify those resources and get signed up for the right skill sessions that they might need for your project. Okay? And again, I said we would do the survey, so feel free to let us know if there's things that we need to do. And I really want to challenge you guys too, to use this as an opportunity to maybe develop some skills or take advantage of an opportunity you might not be able to do in another class. You do have that flexibility here. And if there are opportunities that we don't have listed that you think are relevant, like somebody I found a talk on campus that was appropriate. If that is something that you think can add to your project and is a new learning experience, we want to be able to do that, especially those of you who've been here many semesters. I am going to offer the leadership workshop again. And so if you're interested, you basically go to 4 sessions. You read a book about leadership, do some outside activities. You get 8 lecture credits for doing that. So it's a good option for people, especially who have been in EPICS multiple semesters, to be able to do that. And that is all in. So if you open up your syllabus packet, find the lecture schedule there. And there's one change that kind of got made mid-copying. So on February 15th, Janet Goings from General Motors is going to talk about user-centered design, so how they implement that at GM. And so instead of just doing a how to prepare for the design review, it's going to be on that. So did you find it, the lecture? Okay, so the leadership workshop is in there. And so you need to sign up by, what day did I say? February 15th, if you want to do that. You sign up in my EPICS so we can order the materials. You go to 4 dates, you get 8 lecture credits for that. And then on February 15th, if you flip to the page, the first page for the Returning the Professional series, if it isn't already updated on your copy, then instead of the design review prep, that's going to be user-centered design by Janet Goings. So take a look at that. All right. How many people are using this for senior design this semester? Okay, we have a mandatory meeting Tuesday, January 19th. Just want to get on the same page as far as timelines, expectations, and deliverables. So that's next Tuesday at 5:30 for that. Yes? Just come when you're done. So, all right, any other questions about it? So those of you who might be juniors, especially in ECE or MDE, and might want to be thinking about what you're doing for capstone design. And could you do your capstone design in EPICS? If you're thinking about it, the best time to actually prepare is now. But I think we have some situations where if you've been on a team and you are familiar with the project, the impact that you can have by doing your senior design in EPICS is actually tremendous. And it can actually culminate like a lot of the work that you've been doing. So if you aren't already thinking about it, I know we mentioned it to a lot of people early on in their kind of academic, but then people will forget or not realize that they can use EPICS for senior design. So if there's opportunities to expand this, I know ABE, we've done some, like to have more disciplines that we can use EPICS for senior design, but really want to try and think about that early. Okay, I'm saying this basically for benefit for the people who might be watching this remotely or just so that if you are signed up for the 5:30 lecture, it only meets today, and then we don't meet at 5:30 anymore. We'll only meet at 4:30. So if you don't have a conflict with 4:30, it's really best just to be here for the lecture. And then the 5:30, if you're registered for that, that's because you have a conflict with the 4:30. We will be recording these. They're online usually by Wednesday afternoon of that week. And you have 2 weeks to make up your lectures. How long do you have to make up your lectures? 2 weeks. Okay. Now when you come and write the email and like the end of the semester that you didn't realize, I'll remind you that you only, so it's really important to keep up. There's really little benefit to watching a whole bunch of lectures the last week of the semester, really. So if we really do want you to just kind of keep on track, and it'll be better for you and provide more benefit for that. Okay, and that date is also on that lecture schedule that you have. Okay. All right. So as returners, you are leaders. And I already had one team meeting today and had a lot of returning students, and it really does help the transition or the startup actually go so much better. But really think about what you need to be doing so that your team can get off to the best start possible. So it's finding your old notebooks. If you have the paper ones, they should be moved out of the TA office